This is FightFans Radio.
Yes, sir, we promised you a great gorgeous George. Here it comes. Andre, the giant. WrestleMania.
Everyone has a price.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is electric.
The champ is here.
Welcome to Cageside Live. I am your host, your hostess with the mostest, all that junk up in that trunk, Gino Morosco. I am joined, as always, by my partner in Train Yards, Matt Ruff. What's up, Ruff?
Man, I'm so tired of waking up in Train Yards.
How are the Train Yards down in Texas? You're in Texas, right?
Yeah, I'm in Texas, man. I luckily have never woken up in a train yard in Texas. That was a Northeast kind of thing.
That's such an awesome meme, and I don't even know that if I've ever been in a train yard itself.
I didn't know. I didn't know I was in one until I woke up in it. Man, it's definitely a weird way to come to when you're
This is a real story.
Yeah. Okay. So at the time,
tell us the story.
All right. So at the time, I was living in Jersey and working at Maxim magazine, and the commute, my hours, I had to wake up for a commute to the city on the train and get to a 7 o'clock train in order to get to the city on time for work. It was just the trains in Jersey during rush hour, they stop at every stop. So it's a 2.5 hour train ride to Manhattan from Jersey, and then you have 30 minutes to get from Penn Station in the office. And I just turned 21. So, I was oh, yeah, party, let's go drink every single night. And I kind of was, the midnight oil at both ends, and I don't know the phrase, but it's something about midnight oil.
Burning the midnight oil.
At both ends. And,
at both ends.
I fell asleep on the train, and normally the conductors are supposed to wake you up, but apparently they didn't, because I woke up to a rush hour train that was completely empty and no lights on and moving really, really slow. And immediately my brain went to zombie apocalypse. Immediately. I was zombies. And I freaked out. I ran through the train, one end to the other, and I saw a conductor. He saw me and he goes, "What are you doing here?" I'm like, "Why the fuck am I still on the train, man?" And and so that happened, and not just once. It happened 3 days in a row, and then on the third day, I woke up the normal time and didn't give a 2 weeks notice. I just gave a shoot him an email saying I quit. So I could never actually put Maxim magazine down on my resume because I woke up in too many train yards. That's the story. That's a true story.
So why am I still on the train? Don't you know how much I hate waking up in train yards? What the fuck, man?
I don't remember how everybody found out about that on Bloody Elbow, but it became a really, really, really funny meme, apparently.
Yeah, somebody made a picture and everything and fucking plastered it in every thread. Because, why not, right? That was during better BE times, I think, right?
Yeah.
We could leave it at that. We're being asked if people want to call in. Keith says he's getting silence. Refresh, man. Keith Harris, who's going to be calling in to talk some election stuff. Go ahead and refresh. We should be live right now. I hope we're live because I said we were live, and I don't want to be lying to you motherfuckers. Yes, Jonathan Snowden was supposed to be on the show. I guess we should get rid of some formalities here instead of talking about train yards. Jonathan Snowden was supposed to be calling into the show. He did not. I'm pretty sure it's because he's scared, and he just doesn't want any of me, and that's normal, and that's fine. He said it's because he's sick, whatever. He's dealing with sickness. Yeah, okay, he's scared. So he won't be calling in. We're going to get him on some other time. Anyone else who wants to, Brooklyn, I believe that's who that is, Brooklyn Brawler. Yeah, man, if you want to call in right now, call in. We will chat with you. We will talk.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna defend my boy John Snowden, but that was Gino is over exaggerating. Jonathan Snowden is sick, is not ducking Gino Morasco. My man, Jonathan Snowden, is not scared of Gino Morasco. And Gino Morasco, you could take that one to the bank.
I'm pretty sure he's scared, homie.
Thank you.
Sure. Sources tell me he is scared as shit. And I'm pretty sure about my sources here. So,
well, all right.
Well, hello there.
Who do we got on the air? Yeah, what's up?
Hi, this is Brooklyn Brawler. How's it going, fellas?
What's going on, man? You have a surprisingly normal voice. I'm very happy to hear that. I'm glad you don't sound.
I've lived in New York my whole life. Never really had an accent or anything like that, you know.
Yeah, you don't sound like you're from New York.
You have a huge Brooklyn accent, man. I'm gonna be honest.
Does he?
I'm from Queens, actually, but you know, whatever.
I don't. So what's up, man?
Accent, man.
Do I? Well, I don't know. You have. I don't know where you're from, but you kind of have an accent yourself.
Whoa!
I think we all have an accent. Let's not waste time talking about accents. And what's up, man? Right. What do you want to talk about?
Nothing. We could talk about Raw. How horrible it was. Pretty bad.
You want to talk about how horrible Raw was?
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that they rebooked Survivor Series, but I mean, it's still like a total WCW type of thing to do where, we're going to go with this, and then automatically change it. I just think it's kind of, I mean, you're kind of stuck with the cards that you dealt with at a certain point. And I know a lot of people hated the teams that they had set up, but I don't really think it was that bad. And like, just to change it like that, I think it's a little dumb. And I mean, you're going to be killing Ryback again because you assume he's going to be losing on Monday to Brad Maddox. And then
you think they're going to beat him?
Yeah, I think so. I think Brad Maddox will win.
Oh, no way. No way. They're going to smash Maddox and find some loophole with Paul Heyman.
It's not going to be if Maddox does win, it's not going to be a clean win.
Yeah, but you're going to have him go down on another DQ, so he loses again. Then he's going to lose at Survivor Series. And then, I mean, at that point, is all the heat just dead?
It's getting there. The reactions are, even in England, I mean, with the hottest crowd that I've heard in a long time, they didn't give a shit about it.
Yeah, but, I mean, they hardly ever get WWE. I mean, you could stick me out there, and I think they would cheer me on like I'm the best there ever was. You know what I mean? That's
true. I mean, the Brooklyn Brawler is one of the best ever.
Well, I am, you know. I am kind of the thing that keeps the website up and apart, you know. I mean, it looked like it was gonna fall down for a second, but then I'm driving traffic to the website and everything, and that's pretty cool, you know. And I mean, I do it for free because I'm a nice guy, and you know, whatever. But you know, I mean, somebody's got to pick up the slack, and I'm happy that I'm just.
You have no problem putting yourself over. I think you're turning heel here because you're kind of being a little too cocky.
Well, you know, I'm trying to. You know what I mean? When I'm working with schmucks like you guys, I gotta. You know what I mean?
All right, cut his mic, Erica. He's done. Cut his mic. You're fired.
All right, no, but thanks for letting me call in. Have a great time, guys. Bye.
There we go, man.
You know what's funny? He said something about Survivor Series and how at some point you're just kind of stuck with what you're stuck with. And the thing about WWE is that's not true. And you could say it's a good thing because they're not stuck with what they're stuck with. They can change it all the way up until the night of because they can always just put the card subject to change at the fucking bottom of the programs and the bottom of the fucking commercials, all that shit, and they can do whatever the hell they want. And really, Survivor Series looks better now than it did last week.
I mean,
so I don't mind
still
the changes.
Retarded though, man. It's still ridiculous.
It does suck.
Here's my big issue. When you kill the match that you created the week before, you completely kill it. The entire beef and storyline that you've been building between Cena and Ziggler, you just kill immediately. There's no more beef there. There's no more beef there.
I don't know why they abandoned that.
That's so stupid. It's so stupid. And Ziggler's interaction with AJ has been so spot on, and they just don't care. And it sucks because this is another opportunity for Dolph Ziggler to become something in the WWE, and they're not going to do it. They just don't want to do it.
They're also getting ready. Apparently, we were told by someone who was at the show in England at Raw that when they put it on the Titantron, it was Team Ziggler versus Team Orton. So apparently, Mick Foley is chopped liver, and he's just out of the picture altogether. Which is even weirder because you brought him back for literally 1 week to say, "Hey, what's up, Punk? Let's have a team on team. You know, my team versus yours." And Punk's like, yeah, whatever, fine, let's do it. And then they set it up, and the fucking very next week, it's just all gone. And no explanation at all.
Like, what happened? What happened in that week?
I don't like rewrites. Like, I found I'm very much a fan of long-term planning, which is why I'm so fucking excited that the real reason you should be excited about Royal Rumble is that Vince gets to a point where he will stick with the long-term plan as long as it's important enough. Like, they know what they want to do at WrestleMania, right? I mean, right. at least enough to where a plan's going to be put into place, and they're not going to fuck with that. Like, there was talk of doing that last year with Cena and Rock and going back and forth on who would win, but ultimately the original plan was the one they went through with. So at least with Mania and at least with Rumble and the Chamber and all that stuff, we can kind of depend on a fucking storyline actually playing out the way it's supposed to, instead of them going, well, this traditional 5-on-5, this isn't going to draw. Punk versus Foley, that no one gives a shit. And Cena versus Ziggler, like, that's not properly utilizing our best guys. So let's put Ryback in with fucking Cena and Punk. Let's make it a triple threat. This way, Ryback doesn't have to lose because someone else can get pinned, or Ryback can destroy Cena, and then Punk can come in and low blow Ryback, push him out of the ring, and then pin Cena, retain his belt, go to the Rumble to face The Rock, and then Cena and Ryback can go and do their thing. Everyone gets to keep their heat and all that stuff.
Man,
but
the idea that you're going to be talking about a Cena and Ryback program is so bad.
You didn't like their stare down? I kind of dug it.
I'm saying that the actual matches.
Oh, they'd be horrible.
They're going to be so bad.
Yeah, that's the other thing about the triple threat is you can help protect him from actually having to have a real wrestling match. And you know what's funny? He's like 34. Yeah. You know, Ryback's like in his 30s. He's been wrestling for a decade. Like, you're not supposed to be this green, dude. It's like that fucking one chick from Tough Enough. I don't know if you watched that when it came back. The chick with the red hair. She's like, I've been in the business for about 12 years. And then she runs the ropes and, like, barely touches them.
She can't run the ropes.
Yeah, she botches every move she does. And they're like, didn't you say you've been doing this for 12 years? Like, you should know how to work by now. If you've been fucking on the indie scene and Ryback spent a bunch of time in OVW and all this other shit, like, that's the whole point of being in OVW. Developmental. Why do you suck so much shit still? Like, something's wrong. There's a disconnect here. But he's got huge ass muscles. So
he does have huge ass muscles. I mean, Raw. I wouldn't even say that Ryback or the Survivor Series, 2.0 or remix, is my least favorite part of Raw. Mine was Brad Maddox's promo, dude.
Let's talk about Brad Maddox's promo because there's some split down the middle at Cageside. People who thought, wow, he did really well considering the circumstances, and that crowd was killing everybody they didn't like. But you couldn't even hear Vicky talking. I mean, they were fucking drowning her out with the heat she was getting.
Oh, they murdered her.
Oh, for sure. But Maddox comes out, so it's like, okay, this is a huge situation, dude, and you're on your own out there. Just you for the first time. We're going to give you a live microphone. This is what you need to say. This is how you need to say it. This is the point you need to get across. That crowd out there is ready to fucking eat you alive and go. And people are like, I thought he did good. Other people are like, I thought he did terrible. So tell us why you think it was the worst part of the show. That's a strong statement.
Dude, that final line, thank you.
Oh, it was horrible.
That killed it for me. Like, he could have given Martin Luther King's I Had a Dream speech and just saying thank you at the end just murdered. It just killed anything that he built with me.
Yeah.
It's like he had no idea how to like he fucked up the ending, you know, like he fucked up the punchline and then just had no idea how to actually leave the ring. And so it's just like, thanks everyone. And then
that really was what it was like.
And then thank God for Vince McMahon.
Yeah, who saved everything just by his music hitting and everyone, and comes out with doing the strut. But yeah, I agree with you, dude. Like, he was okay, and like the point of what he was saying was good, and coming out and making all the legitimate gripes. I mean, that was a legitimate gripe that a lot of people on the independent wrestling scene feel. Like, I just can't get a chance. Like, I'm better than all these assholes, but I can't get a chance. They give me a chance. I need to find a way to get in. They won't let me in. This sucks. I got to do something. Got to do something. And plus, Vince really likes people who will just kind of go out there and cut throats just to get to the top. Ruthless aggression and all that bullshit. But, like, he's saying all this, and it's like, I like what he's saying, but his voice, like, he kind of sounds like a 10-year-old girl.
Yep.
And that's not the worst thing in the world. But, like, come on, dude. It didn't feel like he had a lot of conviction behind what he was saying. When Stone Cold Steve Austin got on a microphone, you knew he wasn't fucking around because just how he talked. Put some fucking bass in your voice and act like you really care about what you're saying. And you're right. He's like, and at the end, he's like, thank you. And just starts walking away. And it's like, what the fuck was that? Like, that's your closer? Is to thank the crowd? The crowd you were just like, that doesn't like you. Like, you're supposed to get heat. You don't thank people you want to hate you. What the fuck's the matter with you? It was terrible.
Like that. That's so. Yeah, it was a good moment. I'm really happy that at least with what they plan to do with the Brad Maddox character. But Jesus Christ, man, like
yeah, they deserve credit for that. They had nothing, and then they came back with a bunch of stuff throughout the week on WWE.com. And I was reporting on all of it, and I was like, man, I'm giving them credit. Gonna give them credit. They're doing really good with this shit. They're making me care. And then they get to the promo, and, bad delivery or not, it was a good promo. Somebody wrote that, and that was good. And they got a good reason for all of this shit, and suddenly it all kind of makes sense. It still sucks that that's how they had to have the finish at Hell in a Cell, but at least it makes sense now. But he's not going to beat Ryback.
No, not at all. Also, I just looked at the thread. Irod C posting a photo of Vince McMahon. So I don't know if so. Everybody obviously they know about Linda McMahon's Senate
I'm
race.
just seeing the picture. I'm sorry. We're going to talk about this now. This is the best. Go ahead.
All right. So everybody knows about Linda McMahon's Senate race. If you don't know by now, she lost, and she lost like $100 million of Vince's money, like $100 million. We were talking before the show, like that's a number that just means nothing to me. I have no concept of what $100 million anything looks like. Like I know what it looks like on if you write it down on paper, but like I've never seen $100 million of anything.
By the time you die, if you die at 80, having lived 80 years, you will not have seen in person 100 million people. That's that number, dude. It's crazy.
It's insane. And she spent $100 million and didn't win anything. Like
all they won.
Like didn't even get a T-shirt.
They got booed like crazy. Chris Murphy's acceptance speech, her name comes up, and they fucking just go nuts booing the shit out of her. And like at her speech, everyone is completely quiet. Like it gets to the point where she's saying things and pausing because she's hoping like to get some reaction, and it's nothing. And then they cut to Vince, and he's standing there with. If you can get into the thread on CagesideSeats.com, the look on his face, like he is just getting ready to just commit suicide because he realizes, oh my fucking God, I just spent $100 million and years of campaigning and changing how we fucking run our business. And all I got out of this was a shitload of bad publicity. And now everyone knows my wife is a fucking idiot. Like, this is all he got.
Like you know how you're like, oh yeah, you can't buy this type of coverage. He literally bought that type of like negative publicity. He bought that kind of negative publicity, man.
He spent so much money he was spending a lot of money. And Keith, call in right now, man. We're gonna get you on there to talk about this. He spent all that money just so Keith could write posts on Cageside, absolutely shitting all over Linda's campaign and going, this chick was horrible in the debates. Anytime anyone asks her anything, all she says is jobs, 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 education, jobs, jobs, education, jobs. Everybody's like, lady, can you expand? Yeah, jobs. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Can you tell me something that makes sense to me? And she never, ever could. Even in her concession speech, she's not saying anything worth value. It was terrible. And at one point, she thanks him. She says, I want to thank my husband, Vince, for sticking by my side. And the camera is zoomed out so we can see him, and he literally rolls his eyes after she says this. That's how pissed he was. He didn't give a shit that everyone was looking at him when she said this, as she's smiling and trying to be classy. He's rolling his eyes like, bitch, don't fucking bring me up right now. Don't put my name in this monstrosity, this atrocity that you just lost me $100 million fucking dollars. All just so everyone can shit on us repeatedly. This is the worst day of my fucking life. I'm gonna go fuck every diva on the WWE roster because of you. I hate you.
Where's Trish Stratus when I need her?
Oh my god! Can you imagine the promo he would have cut? Like if they'd given him a microphone, like Vince, what do you think of this? Oh my god, it would have been the greatest thing of my life, dude.
I just want to hear the Vince McMahon voice, like the "You're fired." That voice.
Like I guess she technically doesn't work for WWE now, but if she did, I guarantee that's what he would do. He'd just fucking fire. I don't care if you're my wife. You're fucking gone.
You're divorced. That's a Vince McMahon. Like, that's my Vince McMahon voice, everybody.
Hello.
Keith, what's up, man? How you doing?
Just let me. Everything's fine now. So what do you want to talk about, Linda McMahon?
First of all, that picture's awesome, and Vince is obviously. We're gonna put that on the front page, by the way. That is just the best picture I've ever seen.
Oh, I'm putting in my new story to wrap a bow on the whole thing. The whole video will be up there.
Oh, beautiful.
As well as my thesis that will she take the hint to go away? Because she's got serious go away heat from everyone, I think, in Connecticut.
Oh, it was blatantly clear that everyone was like, "Lady, please just go away." But I read that she was asked if she's going to run for governor. Is it?
Yeah, she turned that down. She's not interested in that. But how she put it is she's not interested in running for political office at this time. So that sort of leaves the door open to run again in 4 years' time, is how I interpret.
Oh my God! So
I think Vince won't allow it with that look on his face. I think I don't think Linda McMahon wants to go away. I think she wants to continue to have some presence on the political scene in Connecticut at the very least.
Can they really afford it?
Well, she's now got enough sort of fame that she could be one of these people who just pops up from time to time and gives her opinion on what's going on in Connecticut, and it will hold some value. The media will listen to her to a certain extent. But what I think is very interesting is she spent another $50 million, and she did worse this time than she did last time in terms of the vote. So she lost by 12% this time, and last time she lost by 11%. So it just shows you that she's unelectable, I think, as a Republican in this state.
Like that's what I'm thinking. Like too. Like even if she decides, okay, I want to run again. Like at what point? I don't know that much about politics. Like you've failed twice. Like why? What would change between now and two failures in the third campaign? I mean, like, how are you going to turn people if they go, okay, we didn't want you the first time, and we didn't want you the second time, but now we want you the third time? How would that even happen?
I think the only way she could do it would be to run as an independent candidate, because the problem this time around was that she annoyed the extreme Republicans by ditching conservative principles. Like there's even someone who was ridiculous to say that she lost because she supported gay marriage, which is a big stretch in a liberal state like Connecticut, and
that's ridiculous.
The Maine and Washington all passing it this time around. So that's ridiculous, but that shows you that she pissed off that side of her base, and also with the ads, with those Barack Obama supporters, that annoyed the Democrats, the Republicans as well. And also, she couldn't really sway the independent voters because she was running as a Republican. So obviously, when you get into the Senate, you would have to support the Republicans on most of the things they do. So the only way to change things is for her to run as an independent and hope that she could split the vote enough to win, to squeak a win. But I think that's likely.
By the time this thing was over, towards the end here, wasn't she resorting to some really dirty tactics? Like, didn't you say that she was, the Linda campaign was paying Murphy supporters to distribute pro Linda, whatever you want to call it?
Well, I think she, all the people who are door knocking and handing out leaflets, a lot of them were paid, even if it's just like as a very low intern rate. The problem, like in the urban areas with like minority voters, she had these T-shirts that were made out to look like the same color, the color purple as these unions that are well known in the city, and they had sort of vote for Linda McMahon and Barack Obama 2012. So it was sort of being deceptive. It was sort of treating the electorate to be ignorant, completely ignorant, thinking, oh, they'll see one of these pictures, these T-shirts, these cards, and think, oh, Linda McMahon must be a Democrat, I think. But it didn't work because she got absolutely hammered in the three biggest cities in the state. So in Hartford, New Haven, and Bridgeport, she only picked up 10% of the vote, 14% of the vote, and 17% of the vote. And when you're getting absolutely crushed in the three biggest cities in the state, you haven't got a chance of winning. You can't turn back.
They declared it over pretty quickly. It seemed like when there weren't a lot of precincts reporting, and it was a very fast, a very swift ass kicking.
Yeah. It was only about half an hour after polls closed, based on the exit polls. So. I think even without counting the votes, they quickly realised that her goose was cooked.
Now, wasn't she? There was rumors last night that she was trying to actually count every single vote in the state to try and to try and prove that she won. Is that true?
I don't know any more than Mitt Romney was for president. Can you?
I actually just lost you. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah, you're cutting out a little bit.
Sorry, I think it was just my headphones.
All right, you're back now.
Okay, cool.
So it was like the Romney thing?
Yeah, I think it was the Romney thing, just to wait as long as possible to make sure, because you don't want to sort of concede and then a miracle happens and you get a run of 100,000 Linda votes from somewhere came out of the blue. So,
which of course everyone knew wasn't going to happen.
No. But one of the interesting things though was they both did their speeches at the same time, which was a major faux pas. So usually the loser, like Mitt Romney, goes first, but you had all these Democrats speaking before Linda McMahon came out. So you had Richard Blumenthal, saying that Senate seats can't be sold, and they all got their dig about, how money wasn't what made the world go round. Then they went to Linda in the middle of Chris Murphy's speech, and then they stayed with her a bit, and then went to Chris Murphy closing. So it was a complete mess. But it sort of shows you the tension. This was a real grudge, in wrestling terms.
So, and speaking of wrestling, we're going to tie it back into that. Naturally, when this comes across on Twitter, and I mentioned that she had lost and she'd got basically blown out, and immediately, all the people I follow and that follow me who are pro wrestling inclined immediately were like, "Oh joy, the PG era is over." Can you clear that up? That's probably not going to happen, right?
That's probably bullshit, in the sense that they've got like Saturday Morning Slam, that's a kids deals with Tell, other family friendly sponsors. They've gone so far down the PG era direction that you can't turn it off like a tap. You've got to change things very, very slowly over a matter of years. It's sort of like the Attitude Era. They started going in that direction, little bits here and there in the mid-90s, 1995. It took them a full 3 years, to really go heavily into the sex, the violence, and everything.
Yeah, it was, and plus the original PG rating that wasn't ever a response to Linda, right? That was more Benoit probably than Linda.
Well, so SmackDown was actually turned PG in, I think, 1999, or I think it was late 1999 because of Brent Bozell III, the Parents Television Council, that got all these sponsors, like Cola, I think, and other big names, to pull out of WWE programming because of the what they're teaching children with all these scantily clad women and everything. And so SmackDown was PG since 1999, and then after Benoit died, they wanted to go in a more positive, smiles on kids direction. So that was when like PG was first initiated, and that's when they also started pushing for, getting Mattel on board and other sponsors.
And the thing that kills me about this debate and this argument is that there really isn't a whole lot we're missing out on. The PG versus they're like, what do people expect that they'll go R? And like suddenly titties will be flying all over the place, and like people are going to be getting hit with chair shots again, and they're going through the Hell in a Cell and bleeding all over the place and things like we don't need that. B, that would probably never happen again, and that's for things other than the PG rating. I mean, we talk about concussions and things like that. And C, I mean, the scantily clad women was it really all that great? I mean, was it? Do we really want anything that isn't PG? Works just fine, doesn't it?
Don't ask me about that.
Okay.
PG's not working out, man. You know that.
What? It's just a crutch, basically. At the end of the day, it's sort of, a crutch for bad storytelling. Like, it's a lot easier to do something exciting if you don't have to be PG, but you can still do a great wrestling program, with all these restrictions on you.
I guess that makes sense. I mean, you can stretch further what you're allowed to kind of bring into a story, but like, I mean, if you look back on the Attitude Era and you think about some of the shit that was going down, like, do you really like Mae Young giving birth to a hand? Like, do we want that again? Do we really? Roth, do you really want that?
Yeah, but for every hand, there was a beer bath.
We still get that.
No, we don't get beer baths.
Like when Stone Cold comes back, does he not do the beer thing?
Yeah, but I want like beer trucks.
Okay, so you think of it like all the Austin stuff, like coming back and Bang 316.
I think of it as in like DX, Nation of Domination, The Rock, Stone Cold, not even Nation. That's not even that. I'd say like the Corporation and the Ministry. Like that was the Attitude Era for me when it was like super edgy, and that there were certain characters that scared the shit out of me, which were like the Undertaker and Kane when they were going to crucify Stephanie McMahon. That was a solid storyline to me, and
it just seems weird to lobby for that. Like, I really want them to go back to when they were kidnapping daughters of the head of the company, and then trying to crucify her, but Stone Cold saves the day. But then he tries to kidnap Vince and hits him with a bedpan, and then acts like he's going to shoot him in the head with a gun, but it's a fake gun.
Yeah, but when you
Like,
put it that way, I mean, like when you put it that way, it sounds terrible.
right.
Like when you put it the way that I was eloquently saying it, it doesn't it doesn't sound so bad.
You really dressed it up well for us.
I dressed it up super well.
Keith, do you have any closing thoughts on the Linda stuff? I mean, since we're going to go, we're finally going to get away from it and go back to focusing on the important stuff, the pro wrestling. Do you have any closing thoughts on Linda and her losing and all that good stuff?
They should have known from the beginning. Really, I think that sums it up. Really, because they knew all the skeletons in the closet. They should have known. It's not like it's hidden. Like, all the things that came round the first time with steroids and, wrestler deaths and, Tom Cole and, all the, really seedy and sleazy things they've done in the past. It's all pretty much out there in the open. It wasn't going to take... All it took was like a phone call to Dave Meltzer or Muchnick, or a Connecticut journalist, to get all the dirt on the McMahon family and the Democrats themselves as well. So,
or even Keith Harris. They could have called Keith Harris.
I haven't had any real contact with them other than I emailed back and forth for Muchnick.
Okay, I have two questions, two final questions. I want to know, after this, 2 failed Senate campaigns, the XFL, the bodybuilding league, all this stuff, just with WWE still being what it is and where it's been and where it's gone and all that stuff, what's Vince McMahon's legacy? Let's say he died tomorrow. What's Vince McMahon's legacy? Is it as a extremely successful pro wrestling promoter, or a guy who failed in every business venture he ever attempted other than pro wrestling?
I think, Vince McMahon is such a complex individual that you can't really, sum it up in like one phrase or one sentence. I think, he'll be remembered as probably the greatest wrestling promoter ever, but also, he came with a lot of excesses, with how he treated his talent, how, and also, how he could never really live with himself, just being like the greatest wrestling promoter ever. And that sort of reflects the fact that pro wrestling has always had this stigma attached to it. So being the best wrestling promoter ever doesn't give you a lot of credit in the mainstream world.
Okay, my final question. Here's your chance to explain your accent. I know you wanted to do that the next time you came on. So before you go here, tell everyone the deal on your accent. Because people called you out, man. They were like, he's not Scottish.
Well, I came up to Glasgow for like a job about... I grew up on a farm in Cheshire, a farm in Badley. It's like a very small village in the middle of nowhere. Which is about 50 miles south of Manchester. So that's probably why I've got this sort of weird British accent, because sort of not near any of the biggest cities or anything.
You sound awesome anyway, man. And we appreciate you calling in, and yeah, you can finally take a break from all the political crap, man.
Yeah.
And Keith, one more request from everybody. They need you to say Barrett Barrage.
Barrett Barrage.
Thanks, Keith.
You too, guys.
Thanks, Keith.
Oh, man. Barrett Barrage. Are they really asking him to say that? Or was that just you?
No, they actually did. Irod C. asked him to say Barrett Barrage.
He doesn't put as much on it as Wade does. He's not as thick about it. But, dude, you really want the Attitude Era to come back?
I want the good parts of the Attitude Era to come back.
Because the Nation of Domination was kind of racist.
Oh, dude, it was super racist. But so were the Freebirds.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's what I'm still waiting in fear of how you're going to react to the Twitter challenge there. The Roth thinks I said we're the Rockers,
No,
and
see, my big issue is I am no man's Marty Jannetty. I am no Marty Jannetty.
I just want to be Shawn Michaels. That's all it really is.
I guess I'm Triple H. Like,
That works.
no, not even that. It sucks. That also sucks. You did not get to be Shawn Michaels.
What about Kevin Nash? Just a click? You can be
Never.
Kevin Nash.
Never. Why? How about this? I'm JBL. You're Farouk.
No.
Okay,
Why?
I'll be Farouk then. Damn.
The fucking APA. How did we settle on the APA? Like, of all the tag teams in the world, like, what can we be Demolition?
Dude, Demolition was terrible.
What?
They were so bad. They were so bad.
Oh, Raw. You just said the worst thing in the history of the world. I hope the world is different now because you just said those words. Like, do you realize that?
Knock off Legion of Doom.
Oh my fucking God. Like, I should call Jason Mann, like, WrestleSpective, and he's like the biggest Demolition mark. And like that's blasphemy, man.
Dude, they're knockoff nation.
That's like calling God a knockoff of the devil.
How? Because Legion of Doom was awesome.
Legion of Doom's really overrated.
What?
They're really over. What's funny is like we're going to do the next tournament is going to be the tag team tournament, and because that's what everybody wanted, and I pushed the greatest matches thing on them. Everybody wanted the tag team tournament. That's what we're going to do next. I have a feeling, and I'm going to fucking make sure it happens that they're on opposite sides of the bracket, that we could actually end up with a Demolition Legion of Doom. Well, that probably wouldn't be a final, would it?
It'll never be a final because Demolition sucked.
No, Demolition was great, dude.
They were not good.
Who's the final for that? The two greatest tag teams in the final.
Tag teams?
Who would that be? Maybe the Hart Foundation? Talking about Bret Hart and the Anvil? No. The Rockers?
No.
Brainbusters?
Nope. Team Hell No.
Team Hell No. They wouldn't even get into the fucking tournament, man.
Dude, they're getting into the tournament.
Fuck, that's really tough, dude, because
Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys.
That's true. The Hardys. I mean, we talk shit, but they did a lot. All three of those groups would be in. Fucking who was I just thinking of? Fuck, I was thinking of a really good team that would go really far. I don't know. Power and Glory. Obviously, they'd be in.
New Age Outlaws, Harlem Heat.
They would both be in. The Outlaws would get voted out first because as much as like we're all Attitude Era marks on Cageside, we can't fucking stand the New Age Outlaws.
But they were awesome. They were awesome.
They were terrible.
No, they were not.
Fucking Billy Gunn. Like that guy had a job. Like for a really long time.
He was really talented.
No. That's Dolph Ziggler. Like no one wants to admit. We always try to say he's Mr. Perfect, but Dolph Ziggler's really more like Mr. Ass.
Because he's super talented.
And blonde. And bumps really well.
And bumps super well. How about this? Can you? And I know that you're really into tournaments. Can you also do a worst gimmick tournament?
Dude, we could do a million. It's funny because we're actually there's going to be a pretty decent sized break because like even the biggest mark for tournaments, like I don't get worn out by it at all. Like it's still super fun to me, and we're in the second one now, and Sweet 16 starts tomorrow. But like people get burned out on it, so we're going to take a break. But yeah, we'll do whatever the people want, man. Tag teams are next, and then we'll vote. After that, we'll do a vote on what tournament people want to do after that. So just campaign for that shit.
So a tournament to decide the tournaments?
Yep.
Awesome. Now, also, your lady friend, she said that you have to that she has a great idea for a Brad Maddox AJ angle, and she said I need to ask you to explain it.
Okay, so the lady friend, yeah, her idea is that Brad Maddox, what it should be really, isn't that Brad Maddox went into business for himself, okay, which is the angle they're doing right now. I'm sure all of you watch Raw or whatever, but quick little refresher is that Maddox said in his promo was, never got an opportunity, never really ever got the chance to show what I can do. I don't want to be a fucking referee. I want to be a wrestler. So when I was put into the prime position and given the prime opportunity, I've decided to make a name for myself and make sure that everyone knows who I am. And I did that by low blowing the fuck out of Ryback, and now I want to match with him. So hook that shit up. Vince comes out and he says, "Okay, I'll give you $1 million contract if you can beat him next week on Raw." Simple, good, clean, easy booking. June's idea is she wants, and she can fucking correct me if I'm getting it wrong here. She wants it to be that Brad and AJ are actually a couple. And AJ, who was the one who has gotten credit for calling him up once Raw went to 3 hours, and he said the same thing. Raw went to 3 hours. AJ called me up because they needed more refs. And that's when I got into the position that I was in to where I could make an impact the way I did. And he actually used the word impact, which was funny that they would let him do that, especially if he was following the script. But she thinks that he should say, ultimately, that it was AJ pulling the strings all along, and she'll be the one, ultimately, who will help save his job. And then people can call them, like, remember they made up names for, like, Brad and fucking Angelina Jolie, or what do they call them? Brangelina?
Yeah.
Or, you know, like Brad and Jennifer or whatever, Benifer, some dumb bullshit like that. Like,
yeah.
They can do the same thing, like Bray J.
That's so bad.
Oh, it's horrible. It's horrible. But, like, you know, for a certain segment of the audience, it would work. And plus,
right.
Really what it is that she thinks he's just the fucking hottest thing that's ever come through WWE. She thinks he's just cute as shit, so she fucking marks out when he shows up on TV. So I don't give a shit. Whatever. He's go ahead.
It's a good angle, and it would actually be a decent payoff. Like we talked about it earlier, and kind of coming full circle on it. Like, what do they do with this guy? Like, Brooklyn Brawler kind of brought up a really good point, saying that they can't have him lose, but they also can't have Ryback lose entering into Survivor Series.
I guess it's kind of the thing, like, you know, almost like an evaluation period, I guess, is what they could treat it like. Okay, you've been in here for a while now. You've been doing your thing as a ref. We've put you into a couple angles. You've done either really well or you've done kind of poorly. And now here's where the rubber meets the road. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if we decide we want to keep going and you're a good enough performer that you're worthy of a spot on the main roster, you're worthy of, you know, us going to the creative team and going, okay, give him something. Come up with something for him because he's a good enough performer. We need to get him on TV. If the quarter-hour ratings come in and your segments are doing well, then, yeah, we'll keep it rolling. But, well, I guess that's not true because Ryback segments fucking bomb every time. He is not a ratings draw in any stretch of the imagination, not by any of the numbers. I mean, the Nielsen numbers kind of suck, but that's what they go off. And Ryback doesn't move the needle at all, and they're pushing him like crazy. But so it's if Vince is impressed and Triple H is impressed, Stephanie maybe, whatever, if they think, hey, this guy's worth the time, then, okay, they'll let him. I don't know that they'll let him beat Ryback, because that'd be really fucking dumb to do the week before Survivor Series, because next week will be the go-home show. But I can see doing something to, if they keep him on board and they figure out a way that he gets the contract either way, then it's because they're impressed with him. If they don't, he'll just go back to, you know, what he was doing before.
With, like, NXT shows?
Probably, yeah. Where do they say he was? Or, yeah, he was in FCW, but they don't do that now. They got NXT. Which NXT is actually a really good show, and Nolan the Colon can tell you all about that. You watch TNA, Raw?
I started watching TNA.
That's what I was going to say. Have you started watching TNA? Because their go-home show to their next pay-per-view is tomorrow. And I almost forgot that. And that's how bad it is, because I cover the shit. I actually do watch TNA.
Yeah. I mean,
and I was going to say, what do you think of TNA from what you've seen?
There's some really, really talented guys on that roster. You know, like, they have people that are the equivalent of, you know, the Daniel Bryans on their roster, which draw me in as a wrestling fan. But, like, that Aces and Eights angle is so bad. It's so bad.
The breaking news from Dixie is that Sting and Kurt Angle will take on 2 members of Aces and Eights tomorrow night on Impact.
Oh, my God. Like, I should be excited. I should be excited about that, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to be.
But, like, the reason that they're basically the worst version of the NWO ever, which I believe was, like, LWO, Latino World Order?
BWO.
Or was it NWO Japan? Both of those were fucking horrendous. And Aces and Eights is worse because where LWO you got awesome luchadors and NWO Japan you had awesome Japanese pro wrestlers. This is like dudes that can't get into the WWE.
Yeah, cast-offs.
But the biggest name they have their two big names already are Luke Gallows and Devon Dudley, and Devon Dudley is like their huge get.
One of the guys working under the masks is D'Lo Brown.
How the fuck is he still around?
Yeah. Like, that's what people are going to say. Like, if he takes the mask off, if they do that, which I don't know that they will, because I'm pretty sure he works as, like, an agent for TNA. So he's, like, he does behind-the-scenes shit. He sets things up, whatever, matches and whatnot. I don't know that they would ever actually out that it's him, but they ran out of bodies. And Wes Briscoe is now TNA. He was a guy who was under, the dude with the bushy, long blonde hair. He was under the mask. Now he's not. He's with TNA, and actually I heard he got hurt. So, I mean, they just ran out of bodies. And what the fuck are you doing running an angle? And somebody called me out. Somebody called me out in the comments on Cageside. Like, I always shit on TNA, and I always give WWE too much credit. That's not fucking true. Like, don't fucking say dumb shit like that. It's like 2 comments on the site. The one fucking thing you say is fucking retarded beyond measure. Is if you do dumb shit, like, I'm not going to not say that. Like, you're doing something fucking stupid. You can't run an angle where you're invading, and then the biggest guy you get is a guy who was A, already on the roster, and B, no one gave a shit about. And he was a fucking champion before you let his contract run out. And they blew it anyway because Hogan is a goddamn idiot when he gets on social media. He's on Twitter talking about, everybody's like, why'd you let Devon get away? And he's like, I don't know, brother. I'm going to talk to Dixie. Got to get him back. Like, what the fuck are you doing? Are you dumb? And now they do get him back, and they work out the contract because Devon's not going to go to WWE. He's like 42 years old. And he has no value. He really has no value. Like, he's a good wrestler. He's good for what he does, but what value does he really have? And then they do the big reveal, and Hogan acts shocked. Bully Ray acts shocked. Sting acts shocked. The crowd, oh, wow. Devon. Interesting.
Luke Gallows.
Yeah, Luke Gallows, too. Yeah.
Festus wasn't a huge character, man.
That's the real problem. When WCW did that shit, Kevin Nash showed up.
Yeah,
Scott Hall. World champions, man. The Intercontinental champion and the world champion for a fucking year. He had just lost the belt months before and then came over. Like, we're talking the biggest of the big. Nash was like who they pushed to the sky. The Click.
Oh, and they had Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, and then added Hogan. So you're talking about Hogan, Hall, and Nash versus Festus, Devon, and D'Lo Brown.
or Wes Briscoe or Mike Knox. Like, yeah, I'm not being a
Knox
dick.
Is there too.
I'm not being a dick right now. I'm just saying that.
No, yes, you are. You obviously hate TNA and you love WWE. That's what they're gonna say, Rob.
Okay, well, you know what, you guys. Here's the truth. I do like the WWE and I hate TNA. Eat a dick.
That's what I don't get either. It's like, well, like, what if I am shitting on them? Like, it's not, the onus for me to be entertained is not on me. Like, what the fuck is wrong with fans? Like, I don't give a shit if you, it's like this, like, it's the same shit that people do, like, with, PlayStation and Xbox. Like, there's this weird fucking war where it's like if one guy says, I like Xbox, and the other guy likes PlayStation, they somehow make it personal. Like, are you fucking retarded? Who gives a shit? It's a gaming system. They're different.
You're both
can be good.
Nerds. You're both nerds.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It's like oh, you obviously like WWE. You don't like TNA. First of all, it's not a qualifier that if I like one, I don't like the other. They're not mutually exclusive things, guy. Secondly, I want to like them. I want to like TNA. I want to like WWE. I want to like Ring of Honor. I want to like pro wrestling. But if you deliver a bunch of fucking bullshit and I watch your program and I want to gouge my fucking eyes out and I want to fucking stab my earball, then no, I'm not going to sit here and go on Cageside Seats and write, oh, how I love TNA just because some fucking mark somewhere is going to fucking call me out and say, oh, you love WWE. Shitting on TNA does not mean I like WWE. That's never the case. That is the stupidest thing any human being could possibly say. If you connect those two things,
it just means that we don't like TNA.
Yeah, it just means that TNA did some stupid. And you know what it was? It was that fucking poster. The Final Resolution poster came out with Hardy and that dumbass face paint, and the closes his eyes and then paints an eye over his eyelid. Like, dude, that looks stupid. Someone tell him, someone close to Jeff Hardy, write him on Twitter. Let him know he looks like an idiot. You look like a 6-year-old who got their hands on some paint and then just went wild and got lucky, and it looks like you have an eye even when your eye's closed. Like, well, who thinks that's creative? Like, that's not creative. It's just dumb. And TNA's feeding into it because he's the only guy on their roster who anyone will buy any pay-per-views to see, even though he's really not that fucking good. And he's probably going to leave in February anyway. That's what's funny. That's why we shit on TNA. They're pushing this guy to the moon, and he's probably leaving the company in like 3 months.
And they also have a totally different definition of draw money. By the way, like Jeff Hardy drawing money is like 15,000 pay-per-view buys.
Yeah, BFG did 20,000.
Okay,
so show of the year.
Okay, so 20,000 buys. That's drawing money in TNA. Okay, yes. John Cena and The Rock did 1.5 million buys.
1.3.
Whatever. 1.3. Yeah. That's drawing money, guys.
Yeah. So your biggest show of the year does 20,000. WWE's biggest show of the year does 1.3 million. That's not just like, and the scale's different because if Jeff Hardy worked for WWE, he drew some pretty good money with CM Punk.
Yeah.
Before he left as champion on SmackDown. Those were really good programs. Him and Punk was an awesome fucking program. A lot of fun. But, you know, you go to TNA and no one cares. The Impact Zone sucks. Everything's dead. The crowd doesn't give a shit about anything. You have to fucking sift through shit like Claire Lynch and fucking Aces and Eights and just, Kurt Angle, who suddenly forgot how to throw a proper pro wrestling punch. His punches have looked fucking terrible lately. If you watch TNA tomorrow, wait for Kurt Angle to throw a punch, and I guarantee you're just going to start laughing when it happens. And that's not what you're supposed to do when pro wrestling's on. You're supposed to enjoy it, not just be like, wow, that doesn't look believable at all.
It's such
Sorry,
a disappointment.
guys. Yeah. Sorry, we don't like TNA. We don't like bullshit. I don't like shit sandwiches either. You're going to fucking get all pissed because you're a shit aficionado?
Why are you not giving shit sandwiches a chance, Gino?
Exactly.
Sometimes they're decent. Sometimes.
Like, that's what it is. That's seriously what it is. Like, you put a shit sandwich in front of me and I'm going to like fucking toss it away and curse you for doing that. Like, if your defense is like, but you never know, you should try it. Like, I know shit when I see it, guy. And that's shit. It's awful. It's the worst thing in the world, dude.
So yes. Going back to the question. Yes, I am watching TNA. No, I don't enjoy it, and I'm probably not going to enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's the next pay-per-view is Sunday. For those of you who play the pay-per-view pick'em game, because we're coming up on the hour here, so we're getting ready to get off. If you play the pay-per-view pick'em game, remember, you got to make your picks. And anyone who says you don't have time, bullshit. Because the thread goes up Friday morning at 6 a.m. Central. So that's 7 a.m. Eastern. The thread stays in the cover on the front page at the top. So if you go to the front page, you'll see it every fucking time you go to the front page until Saturday at midnight. That's 2 full days where if you go to Cageside, that's what you'll see. So make your picks. No excuses. If you miss 3 events in a row, you're going to be booted out. The prize, if you forgot, is some fucking free swag, a Cageside Seats shirt, and you're going to win the big gold belt. Not a replica, obviously a replica. No, it won't be the real thing, but a replica, but it'll be the full size. That $400 motherfucker they sell on shop.com. Should I spray paint CSS on it? I keep debating on that. I'm not sure. Ralph?
Man, I think you should spray paint NWO on it.
I just don't know if like they'd get pissed if they're like, "Hey, I won," and then I ship it to them and it gets there and it's got spray paint on it. And be like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
No, dude, you know what? Fuck them. Fuck them.
All they did was win a really hard fucking, thing that went a whole year. Like, that's gonna be hard to win that shit, dude. I'm in 7th actually.
Yeah, you know what? I say fuck them, man. Spray paint it. CSS.
Just spray paint it on there?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe I will. But make your picks, guys. That's going to be Friday.
What's this about shirts, though?
Yeah, man, they're going to get a Cageside Seats shirt if they win.
Y'all giving shirts?
Yeah, we got shirts.
Damn.
We got shirts, Pim. We got a store. SB Nation's got a store for. Actually, I think SB Nation has a store for every site.
What?
Yeah.
Yo, I made a mistake. I'm kidding.
Yeah. Good thing Snowden wasn't on here, man. I made a mistake, dude. I need to come back. We got coffee mugs. We got all sorts of Cageside shit, man. We might even sell some Cageside Live logo type T-shirts here soon if the lady friend can ever get her shit together.
Yeah.
Calling you out, June. What? So next week will be the last show before Survivor Series. So we're just gonna break down Survivor Series. We're gonna have Hollywood Wallace is going to join the show, and he's probably not gonna break kayfabe because I don't think he even knows what kayfabe is. I'm pretty sure he thinks wrestling's real. So that's going to be a really
real to
fun.
him, damn it.
I'm pretty sure it is. That's going to be a fun show. We're going to try to crack him, and we're going to see how far we can get. We're going to have Roth on the case. Roth is going to try to make this man break kayfabe while we do Survivor Series picks and predictions and thoughts and all that stuff. And everybody else, call in. Like you guys wanted to be able to call in. I don't have Skype, all this other stuff. Brooklyn Brawler, thanks for calling in tonight. Everybody else, you got no excuses. Joe Lee called in. Got to get you guys in here, man. Roth, you got anything to say before we go?
Yeah, and we're going to be back for Survivor Series as well afterwards.
That's right. Right after Survivor Series. So, especially we need your calls then. Because I know you're going to have some opinions when fucking, WWE gets stupid and Ryback actually wins the title or some crazy shit like that. So, definitely call in then. We're going to be right back then. All right. I'm the Gino General Morosco. The Gino General. I like that. The Gino General. That's the Matt Roth. This is Cageside Live. Thanks for joining us.
Bye, everybody.
Yes, sir, we promised you a great
Gorgeous George. Here it comes.
Blassie, the makeup champ.
Andre, the giant. WrestleMania.
Everyone has a voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is electric.
The champ